I'm not left out. Run away. Oh, yeah. It's a good time. It's the white line. I'm the only one to blame. It's a sickness. You forget this. You'll be left here. What a waste. It's the wrong way to think today. What a chance you did take today. It's the madness your drive creates. What a chance you did waste today. I'm a loner, I'm the only, I'm the blistered and I learn. I'm the blamed, I'm the wasted, now I'm stronger, no you turn.
Alright, race fans, and how's it going, everybody? We're here at the famous Brickyard, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. These drivers are now setting qualifying times. It's the first time that we're going to be seeing single car qualifying all season long, it looks like. Driver's just going to spend 10 minutes trying to set down some laps. Got about 9 drivers entered in as of right now. Greg Clyde turning his lap right now. Alan Brown right now we're focusing on right now, going down the back straightaway. Roaring at about 185, 190 miles per hour into turn number 3. New paint schemes it looks like, as Alan Brown's running a Mountain Dew car, and I saw Greg Clyde running a whole different scheme than what he usually does. Alan Brown qualifying second, just 0.3 of a second off of Greg Clyde. Still 8 minutes left of practice. For some reason, my stream keeps like abruptly dropping like a few frames. I apologize for that. That hasn't happened to me in quite some time. So I'm going to have to end up turning that down, it looks like. So that'll fix it. Evan Longacre has taken the pole position so far. He is 0.1 of a second quicker than Greg Clyde, still running at his lap times right now. Go ahead and pull up the ticker right here as you see qualifying go through the top of your screen. Qualifying results so far. Let's go ahead and get some I'll look at the track info here in just a second. So all these drivers are still setting down lap times. Let's go ahead and pull up the weather for today's race. Here it's going to be a little cloudy. Mostly it looks like there's going to be some clouds covering up the sun today. Which means that we're going to be seeing a lot of slippery cars tonight. The air temperature at 73 degrees. Track temperature 78. Slick tires on restarts are going to be fairly common. And then we have a 5 mile per hour wind speeds coming from the north. There's track info. This is actually my home track since I do live in Indiana. However, the closest track to me is MIS, which is Michigan International Speedway. So this is probably one of the 2 home tracks near me. Since on occasions I do end up going to Michigan. Most of my family lives up in Michigan, so that's, I guess, a home track in my book. And then there's Indianapolis, where that's in the state that I currently am a resident in. So I count that as another home track. It's not wanting to show anybody else on the track for some reason. It's just stuck on the scenic cam, even though we could easily take a look at Kyle Aitken. Aitken. It's gonna be hard to pronounce that last name. See, none of these are actually like loading in for some reason. Just keep loading into Alan Brown. There we go. Now we have some other drivers popping up here. Got Alan Cundiff setting down his lap times right now. And here's our pole sitter of Evan Longacre. Trying to see if he can do better on his lap times here. They have 30 laps tonight, so there may be a possibility. I mean, these cars, looking at what I've seen in practice and so far what I'm seeing here, these drivers know how to run by themselves. They're running really decently. If we go, let's actually go on in the cockpit with Bruce here for his qualifying time. Let's see what it's like to run here. I remember running this race, this racetrack in these cars a couple months back, and they were like really like easy to control. They may have changed it just a little bit, but we're gonna find out right about now as we watch Bruce set his qualifying times here. He's not running too hot right now, setting a lap time just a 51.578, which is a second and a tenth under slower than Evan Longacre. Take a look at Evan Longacre right now, but I think he may have just gotten in the wall. Definitely see once the tires start warming up, they will start getting slipperier and slipperier. But let's keep an eye on Bruce here. He could probably best his lap time more than likely. Turns 3, you can easily like let off the throttle and slowly get back into it. Turns 3 and 4 is like probably the best turns in this entire track. 1 and 2 is very tight. 3 and 4, it's very open. 50.883. That puts Bruce third. And he is satisfied with that lap. Evan is still out on track right now, so let's go ahead and watch him here. Thought he was gonna set a couple laps and then end it like like Bruce did, set one lap and then go. But he's been out here for, this would be his 4th lap. Let's just keep an eye out on this 95 machine here. car, the car in 1 and 2 will definitely get tight near the exit, so they pushed the car a little too much. We may see some accidents here, but I think we'll see a lot less cautions this week than what we did last week at Myrtle Beach. Less than a minute left in qualify, excuse me. We have a 40-minute time limit, and with pace laps here, they're like 2.5 minutes. They're just as long as Talladega. My God, are they long. Last week was the Indianapolis 500 week, and I ran at least like 3 different races, 3 full-length Indy 500s. I never finished in any of them because every time that I did, they went really long and I had to do other stuff. We got 10 seconds left in qualifying. Evan Longacre will get the pole for today's race. So we're going to have 9 starters in today's little area. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to send it to the pace car here as we get set to go racing here. Let's go ahead and let's get our starting lineup here. The starting grid for tonight's race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We have Evan Longacre setting the pole with a lap time of a 50.374. And on the outside of row number 1, we have Gray Clyde, who sets a 50.602. Onto the second row, we got Bruce Pearson, who sets a 50.883. And then we have Alan Brown to the outside of him, starting in the 4th place spot with just 0.6 of a second slower than our leader. And then we move on to Alan Cundiff in 5th, starting row number 3, the first driver to reach the 51-second mark with that 51.034. He starts to the inside of Kyle Aitken, who sets a lap time of a 51.280. If I do end up making a mistake on that last name, I apologize. It does take me about a week to get used to new names. Or at least a week or 2. And the final row. Actually, no, it wouldn't be the final row. Excuse me. This would be row number 4. We have Derek Schimmel starting in the 7th place spot. And Eric Fiorello will start in 8th. And then rounding out the field, ladies and gentlemen, will be the number 33 of Alan English. Just about ready to get this race underway. As the field is still continuing to grid, we're going to see a lot of action here today. The sun's starting to come back out. The track is starting to brighten up just a little bit. Started qualifying with a lot of clouds, but now it looks like we're going to be under sunny conditions. Let's look at the weather one more time here to give you guys another look at what we're going to be dealing with tonight. A little bit of clouds in the area, but we're going to be mostly under sunny conditions. .76 degrees track temperature, 5-mile-per-hour wind speeds. When the tires warm up, it's going to be pretty slick. Indianapolis doesn't have too much of baking. I think it's only like maybe 20. I think it's only like 20 degrees baking. It's not a whole lot of baking. What many people are used to. There's still a good amount of baking. In fact, there was enough baking that the reason why F1 didn't want to run the Indianapolis road course was because of the baking. I think. I may be wrong. I know it was because like the tires were definitely dangerous, but a lot of the other reason was because of the baking was like a terrible thing for the cars. It made it unsettlingly uncomfortable for the drivers and stuff like that. But in any case, this track is mainly flat with just a tad bit of baking here to help out the outside lane. Drivers are going to be using that underneath. They're going to be using the lane just where that little rumble strip is. They're going to be using that quite a bit. They're going to get what Evan's doing right now with 2 left side tires on the underneath the white line. They're going to be doing that quite a bit tonight. I mean, doing that quite a bit. In any case, we're all set to get to racing here, ladies and gentlemen. And mine, Evan Longacre, is going to lead them to the green flag here. 30 laps around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pace car roars into pit road. And we are underway here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Side by side into one for the lead. Greg Clyde with the nose out ahead on the outside line. Now Evan Longacre takes the lead. He'll be able to clear the 92. Down the back straightaway they go. Evan is the only one on that bottom lane, so that's actually hurting him as the outside lane starting to get a little bit of momentum push. But as they're going to be side by side heading into turns 3 and 4. Greg Clyde with the nose out ahead clears the 95, and Greg Clyde takes the lead away. Evan Longacre with a run out of 3 and 4 is going to duck down to the inside. Coming across the line, it is going to be Greg Clyde leading the first lap. Greg leads the first lap. The first lap is always a good lap. Ooh, a little tire smoke right there by the 92. Looking like possibly overdriving the corner a little bit. That's what it looked like. Either that or he got loose, but he's still side by side with Greg Clyde as they come down the back straightaway. Still side by side for the lead. Greg may have a good... Yes, he does. He has a good gap ahead of him, and he'll clear the 95 once again. Heading into 3 and 4, Greg Clyde will have about a half a car length lead over Evan Longacre. Longacre is starting to diminish that gap quite a bit. He's peeking to the inside quite a bit. He'll be able to get a good run into 1 and 2, but he lets out a little bit. Evan Longacre lets out just a tiny bit. Let's see if he can force that 92 to make a mistake. Oh, and it looks like he does. Here comes Evan to the inside once again. Down the back straightaway, again, side by side for the lead, all while Alan Brown sits behind these two in waiting mode. Heading into 3 and 4, Greg Clyde with a nice entry, pulls just a 1/10 of a second lead, about 2.5 tenths of a second. There's just the rumble strips to his advantage. But Evan just gets a good run out of 3 and 4. And pushing the 92. Not looking to the inside whatsoever. He's trying to force Greg to overdrive the corner. But trying to make him have too much momentum. But both of them have a terrible entry, or a terrible exit. Longacre gets the worst out of it. And he drops just a couple tenths of a second. Greg Clyde slowly gaining the gap between 1 and 2. Now 5 tenths of a second between first and second. This is the closest battle so far. Is between Evan Longacre and Alan Brown. This is for second. Both running the middle line and entry, but that'll only hurt these two as they continue to lose time to the number 92. Further on back, got a battle for the 4th place spot here. Battle between Kyle in the 07 and Bruce in the 21. A little bit of damage to the back end of the 07 machine. He's coming to complete lap 5. Bruce takes a peek to the inside underneath Kyle. He's got some damage to the right side, so he must have pounded the wall just a slight bit. Bruce is just not able to capitalize on any of the moves that he's trying to make. They both get a little swirly out of the exit there for just a slight second. Bruce is going to look to the inside once more. And this time he'll be able to clear the 07 as the 07 has a terrible, terrible 1 and 2. It was just to pull away just a slight bit, but the 07 still got a run out of 2. It's going to be able to close the gap just a slight bit. And we also have another battle back here. Derek Schimmel in 6th place with Alan Cundiff in 7th. Then we have Alan English in 8th and Eric Fiorello in the dirt. Just stopped on the track. Let's go back and see what happened to him. Oh man, something might have disconnected. That looks like a wheel disconnection. Yeah, because he's still... Let's go back. Hold on. Let's go back just a little bit more real quick. Listen to the engine real quick. That's not the right one with me. Let's go to... Alright, let's listen to Eric's engine real quick. Yeah, he's just having himself a terrible race. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell something on the technical side of Eric just happened. Yeah, that's a technical problem. And up front, Greg Clyde leading the way just by over a second. As we go through the field on back, everybody is separated by more than a second. Everybody's separated by more than a second over each other. First place is ahead of second by a second and a half. Then from second to third, it's another second. And then from third to fourth, it's 5.5 seconds. Then from fourth to fifth, it's a second and a half, and then the tiniest gap that we have from positions is from fifth to sixth, which is only just under a second, just barely under a second. And then from sixth to seventh, it's almost 6 seconds, and then from seventh to eighth is about 16.5 to 17 seconds. So there's a lot of gaps here in this race. Everybody is just running their own race at their own pace, kind of like what we saw in qualifying. Everybody just, you know, all by themselves doing their own thing. Even if it was single car qualifying, they were all running their own pace. That's what Greg Clyde's doing right now. Since everybody is so far ahead of each other, that these drivers up at the front are definitely not trying to push their car whatsoever. The gap between first and second has diminished to less than a second, but it's going to take a major mistake by this 92 to even get anywhere outside of this, outside of the first place spot. We'll have 20 laps to go when they cross the line. And if we look at the best lap times, let's look at their fastest lap, which is set by Greg Clyde with a 51 point, almost a 51 flat. And we compare to his last lap, which I think we can pop it up right here. Yes, if you look right on just in the middle of the screen where it says last lap, we can see that these lap times compared to the fastest laps have already decreased 2 seconds. So at this point, since if no cautions happen and nobody goes down pit road for tires, we're going to be seeing at this rate about a 6 to maybe 7 second drop on lap times by the time we get to the end of this race here. So last lap is already a 53.036 for our leader. Many drivers are already in the 53 second lap times with their with the 11 laps on their tires. So if we lose about 2 seconds every 10 laps, we're going to be losing, yeah, about 6, maybe 8. Oh, Evan Longacre in the wall, but he keeps it out of everything else, but that's just going to make him lose even more time. It's 53.733. We go to Greg Clyde's last lap. It was a 53.016. Alan Brown's set a 52-second time right there, but still, the lap times just keep diminishing for these drivers. Whether it be a lot, whether it be by, just a slight bit. Greg Clyde only lost about like maybe 100th of a second that time. Got clouds rolling in, so maybe now we'll start seeing some faster lap times. So I do see some cloud covers in 3 and 4. The sun's out on the front straightaway. Car going to be a little bit different. Car's going to be handling a little bit differently now that the clouds are starting to roll in. 53.318, 3/10 of a second loss that time. Wow. And R2003, a slight cloud cover could give you like 2 seconds faster, but in this game, a cloud cover will get you 2 seconds slower. Greg Clyde's led all but, I think he's led all of the laps so far today, I believe. I don't know if Evan led one or not. No, he has not. Evan was the only one that was challenging Greg this entire race. So Greg has led all 12 laps so far, about to be 13. And he's putting on quite a show at for us here tonight. He started in the second spot, and he managed to make a good use out of that outside line and was able to overwork Evan. Because the thing about Indianapolis is, since these cars will drift up the track when you're battling in dirty air, if you've ever driven an Indy car, you'll know this issue. Even in clean air this happens, but it's horrible in dirty air. When you're trying to battle with somebody like side by side, you will get a little tired. That's why the outside line is one of the preferred lines here at this track, because of how tight you'll get on the bottom. You'll have to let out of the gas unless you want to turn the guy above you. So the outside line is one of the preferred lanes here, unless you can get a good run and your car is handling well. Then inside line may be, I mean, you can work every lane here at this track if you really wanted to. Got Eric Fiorello here starting to and this is what I expected to see, because Eric got wrecked, and his technical problems happened around like lap, I think it was like lap 6 or 7. Can't entirely remember. So he has about, let's take a look here real quick. Take a quick glance. He has about 10 to 11 laps fresher tires than these guys. So if you look at his last lap compared to our leader, he's almost an entire second faster, more than a second faster than our leader. That's how the tires are. It's just only 10 laps, and he's still this much faster than our leader of Greg Clyde. So Eric will be able to make up one of his laps, and then we also have another driver who also went down pit road, that being Alan English, and he has even fresher tires. He has 5 lap fresher tires than Eric, so he has about 13, maybe 14 fresh laps on his tires, fresher than everybody else. Now let's watch his lap time real quick. 51.985 compared to our leader's lap time of a 53.850. So fresh tires here, even if they are just 10 laps, they're gonna be about 2 seconds quicker than the guy who hasn't had any fresh tires. Eric Fiorello fell back. If we look at Eric's, yeah, something must have happened to Eric while we were watching. Yeah, it looks like there's some more damage to the right side. But if we oh, in the wall goes Evan. Evan's just having himself a bad day. He just keeps losing time to the leaders. He may end up losing second right now to Alan Brown. And with that damage on the right side of the car, it's just going to be even more of a tight mess. So battling in dirty air is going to be even more hectic for Evan here. Hanging on to second, but will he be able to hang on to second for very long is the question. These two are battling for the second spot. The leader is only over 4 seconds ahead of these two battling right now. Greg Clyde, who hasn't done much, hasn't had any mistakes necessarily, still setting a 53.571, which is over 2.5 seconds slower than his fastest lap, which is up here on the screen right now, underneath the ticker with a 51.001. So here's our top 5 so far. We have Greg Clyde in first, Evan Longacre second, Alan Brown third, Bruce Pearson fourth, and Derek Schimmel in fifth. 6th place, we have Kyle Aiken. In 7th place, Alan Cundiff. 8th place, we have Alan English. And 9th place, the final position of the night, is Eric Fiorello. Our leader, Greg Clyde, still leading here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 18 laps led, all of them so far. Gonna have 19 completed when they cross the line, and Greg is going to be leading all of them so far. And unless a major mistake happens by this 92 car, he'll be able to cruise his way to a victory here. It's been a very calming race. We've only seen drivers hit the wall, and we haven't seen like any major incidents other than Eric's little technical malfunction that's put him to 9th place. But it hasn't been incident free other than that incident with Eric. We've seen tons of drivers scrape the wall a little bit. The only one that hasn't is Greg Clyde. I don't see any damage to the right side of that car, so he hasn't even hit the wall yet. Everybody else that has raced, everybody else has at least hit the wall a little bit. I think even Alan Brown may have scraped the wall a little bit. I'll have to take a look. Let's take a look real quick. I don't think he has. I could be wrong though. No, it looks somewhat clear. If he has hit the wall, it's not very, how should I say? It's not very noticeable if he has. Ten laps to go here in Indianapolis. So far, let's keep an eye on our last lap once again. A 53.366. And I wonder if Greg is slowly like saving his tires, because I'm looking at the other lap times behind him for the last lap. And Evan Longacre 33.6, Alan Brown 33.7, Bruce a 54.2. Derek a 53.9, but you go to Greg Clyde, his last lap is a 53.3, so he's still in the lower 53 second lap times here. We'll see what this lap is compared to like everybody else's lap time here. Side by 54.079, way slower than guys like Evan Longacre. Evan Longacre was 4/10 of a second quicker that time. However, they are still 3.5 seconds back. So maybe Greg Clyde is somewhat saving his tires a little bit. Trying not to, overdo the car. Because he has such a big lead with such little time left. He can't afford to make a mistake. Can't afford to make a mistake whatsoever. Especially when he has a faster car right behind him, Eric Fiorello, who has those 10 lap faster tires on him, gaining every little inch of him. He may have to let him go as long as Eric can not be such a threat ahead of him. We got second place all back here. Definitely see that Eric Evans' car has definitely gotten tighter. What Evan did right there, he forced Allen to get out of the gas there a little bit by trying to pitch him down. That's a very common move here in Indianapolis. Many drivers do that a lot. When they don't want to, when they're trying to defend their position, they'll try and pitch the driver down so that way they'll have to get on the gas so they don't destroy the car. But while these guys are duking it out, they're extending the gap between first and second, as it's now over 5 seconds between these two. These two aren't going to be battling for the lead anytime soon. They're just going to be battling for their own race, which will be for second. Kind of like what would happen in a road course racing event. Since the track would be so big, everybody would be so far spread out, the only way you're going to really gain any major positions is if the guy ahead of you like ends up making a major mistake, like wrecking. So these two right here, they're battling for second. And unless Greg Clyde makes a major mistake, they're going to have no shot at the win here. 7 laps to go. Next time by being the 6 to go mark. Texas, our last mile and a half that we were at, we did have a caution-free race. And it looks like, hopefully I don't jinx it, but it looks like tonight will be another caution-free race. Just under 6 laps to go with across the line once more. Greg Clyde with a 5.5 second lead over number 95 of Evan Longacre. 72 of Alan Brown, and we got 4th place Bruce Pearson and Derek Schimmel in 5th. This is the closest battle on track that we have right now. Everybody else is separated by a second or more from each other. Yeah, behind these guys, 12 seconds behind these guys is Bruce sitting 4th. Then another 10 seconds back from Bruce is Derek. Our leader so far still setting 53-second lap times. Times haven't fallen off as much as I thought they would. They've fallen past 3 seconds, which I figured we were going to be about 6 seconds slower by the time this race would end, but we're going to be about 3.5, maybe 4 seconds slower on fastest lap. Still a relatively big fall off between fresh tires and old tires. And you can hear how much throttle time Greg is in right now in these corners. He's barely in the throttle at all, and even when he's barely in the throttle, he drifts up the track near the wall. That's how tight the car gets whenever these tires get old. 4 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Alan Brown has taken the second spot away from Evan, but they are 6.5 seconds behind Greg Clyde right now. Coming across the line, we'll have 2 laps to go. Greg's led all 27 laps. He's looking to make it a perfect 30 race, a perfect 30 laps led race here tonight. Very tight entry into one. You can definitely see the tires have fallen off quite a bit. If somebody had fresh tires right now, battling to get their lap back, they would easily have it, and they would be able to get back to the lead in like less than about 10 laps with how fast they would be. They would be 3 seconds quicker than our leader with those new tires. If they end up like they don't scrub off those tires, that is, try to get the lap back and try to get their way up to the front. Right now, Greg Clyde is going to be seeing the white flag here first. And he's led all 29 laps, and he can cruise his way to a dominating victory here tonight. All he has to do is just not make a major mistake, and he'll be able to win in the most dominating fashion. 7-second lead for Greg Clyde. Has the fastest lap. He'll lead all 30 laps, and he'll go home with a victory. Probably nobody else could be as dominant as Greg Clyde as he was tonight. So the final turn here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Greg Clyde will be the winner here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, leading all 30 laps. Crossing the line first, Greg Clyde will be kissing the bricks tonight here at Indianapolis. 6.5 second gap between him and Evan Longacre, who rounds out the top 2. Greg Clyde is your winner, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get interviews here in just a few moments as we let everybody else start to come across the line. We have there's such a big gap here between first and, let's say, last driver on the lead lap, which is 07 to Kyle, who just ends up crossing the line. Greg Clyde is your winner, ladies and gentlemen. Dominating fashion. Absolutely dominating, and we'll talk to him in just a moment here. Before we go through any interviews, let's go ahead and let's get our finishing results out of the way real quick. Finishing results for tonight's race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Greg Clyde in first, dominating fashion, 30 for 30. Leading the laps. Evan Longacre in second. Alan Brown third. Bruce Pearson fourth. Derek Schimmel fifth. Kyle Aitken in sixth. Alan English in seventh. Alan Cundiff in eighth. And rounding out the 9-car field is Eric Fiorello. And with those out of the way, now we can start our top 3 interviews for tonight. Going to be interviewing Greg Clyde first, and we got Evan Longacre and Alan Brown talking about their nights. So let's go ahead and let's get started with our winner tonight of Greg Clyde. Got a copy there, Greg?
Yeah, I got a copy. Hey, Taylor.
Dominating fashion for you tonight, 30 for 30. Was there anything wrong with the car whatsoever tonight?
Oh, after about 5-10 laps, the front tires just went away. It was just a matter of trying to manage what was left and put in as good a lap as you could do and hopefully be faster than the other guys.
All right, so heading into next week, how confident do you feel about the track that we're going to next week?
The Bull Ring's kind of a really, really short track. So, it's anybody's game there. There's going to be a lot of beating and banging, I'm sure, but I like the track. I think I usually run well there, so we'll see what the heck happens.
Bull Ring is definitely going to be a very, very, very. It's probably one of the shorter tracks on the schedule. So looking forward to the Bull Ring next week. And do you have anybody that you want to shout out real quick for your dominating performance tonight?
Oh, honestly, I just want to shout out the guys. I enjoy racing them every week, and I want to give you a little shout out because, man, watch these broadcasts when we get done. It's a lot of fun for me. I really appreciate it.
All right, so I'll send you back down there, and congratulations on not only the win, but such a dominating performance tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor.
Okay, so that was our winner tonight. Let's go ahead and let's interview Evan Longacre. Got a copy there, Evan?
Yep, you got me.
Yes, I do. All right, you started on the pole tonight, and you fell back to second. Just how was the race all in all for you tonight?
It was fun. We got a race, the entire time. No cautions. Pretty typical Indianapolis race. In stock cars, we did get spread out. I just made too many little mistakes going into turn one. Before you know it, you think you've backed the corner up enough, and then all of a sudden you've overdrove the corner and you lost 0.4 of a second before you know what really hit you.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, heading into next week at the bull ring, how confident are you there?
I honestly think the bull ring is going to be a crapshoot. I think speed matters a little bit, but I think staying out of the hurricane is going to be the big deal. You can have a good race and then get involved in a late race caution there, and you're finishing 8th or 10th place.
Yeah, so bull ring is definitely going to be one of those races where it's going to be pretty chaotic. It's definitely not going to be as calm as it was this week. So,
no, I'm expecting 5+ cautions, probably a lot more.
All right, so looking forward to that one next week. And for second place tonight, who do you have to give a shout out to?
I'd like to thank Greg for putting this whole thing together. Greg put me together kind of a alternate rapid-fired paint for this week with the black car. He did it last week too, but it's first chance I got to shout it out. So thanks to him for taking the time to do another paint. Thank Rapid Fired for being on the car and sponsoring the league, and thanks to you for doing your broadcast like you always do, and making it that much more fun. Always enjoy going back and watching it and sharing it with family and friends and letting them see what we do.
All right, so we'll see you next week at the bull ring, and congratulations on your second place tonight.
Thanks, man. You take it easy.
All right, you too. Okay, that was Evan Longacre, finishes in second place, and now we go to third place, Alan Brown. Alan Brown, you got a copy there?
10-4.
All right, you started in fourth. You got third place tonight, battling with Evan there for the longest time. Just all in all, how was the race for you tonight?
Ah, man, dude, that was a blast. It was kind of frustrating a little bit. I kept getting runs like right where you really don't want to run.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't make any moves, but it was a blast, and I got to thank Evan for racing me clean there. It was so good.
All right, and going to the bull ring next week, how confident are you at that track?
About the same as all the other short tracks.
All right, because I've been told that it's probably going to be just as chaotic as like we had with Myrtle Beach last week. So expecting something on the lines of like what we had at USA. At the same time, how short that track is, it's definitely going to be pretty chaotic. So got third place tonight. Anybody you would like to quickly shout out?
Yeah, I gotta thank again Evan racing me clean there. That was pretty nice of him. I gotta thank you and Greg, you for broadcasting, Greg for hosting this entire thing. It's absolutely fantastic. Been doing it for a while. Absolutely love it.
All right, so you got third place tonight. We'll see you next week on the bull ring, and congratulations on third place tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And with that in mind, let's go. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up tonight. We already went through our finishing results. 30 laps led for Greg Klein. Leads all 30 laps, and he'll end up taking the checkered flag tonight. Next week is the bull ring. It's going to be just as chaotic as the bull. Well, no, it's going to be just as chaotic as Myrtle Beach. Hopefully with a little less cautions than last week at Myrtle Beach. So next week, we're going to be here once again on the Fastlane Racing Station, tuning into the ADD Racing's K&N&N series presented by Rapid Fire Pizza. And one last time, we're going to say thank you all so much for tuning in tonight, and we will see you all next week at the Bull Ring. That's going to be quite the racetrack to go to, and that's going to be actually really fun because I'm actually a pretty big fan of the Bull Ring. I like racing on it, and I like watching races on it. Without further ado, I'll send it off here tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and good night, America.